Okay, so today we're tackling a pretty wild question. What if we could fix democracy by treating it more like a video game? We're diving into what's called the gamification of democracy. It's this powerful and kind of controversial idea that could totally re-engage millions of us or, create a system that's even easier to manipulate.
I mean, let's be real. Have you ever felt like that? Because you are definitely not alone. For so many people, modern politics just feels less like a system that's for the people and more like some kind of rigged game where the rules are impossible to understand and the odds are just stacked against you.
And it's not just a feeling, right? The numbers tell the exact same story. We're seeing voter turnout at historic lows, especially with younger folks. Trust in our basic institutions, it's plummeting. And at the same time, our online worlds are basically trapping us in these echo chambers, which makes finding any kind of common ground feel, well, impossible. The result is just this massive collective sense of frustration and burnout.
And what that leads to is this feeling that we're not really choosing leaders we actually believe in. Instead, we're just playing defense. You know the drill, right? We're stuck picking the lesser of two evils or voting strategically just to block some outcome we're terrified of. It's this cycle of stagnation, and it leaves a lot of us feeling like our vote is really more about damage control than it is about actual progress.
So if the game is broken, can we just redesign it? Well, some really smart innovators think the answer is yes. And they believe it lies in borrowing ideas from a place you probably wouldn't expect: video game.
So this big idea is called gamification. Now, the point isn't to turn politics into some kind of e-sport. Not at all. It's about borrowing the things that make games so addictive. Clear goals, instant feedback, that feeling of progress, and applying them to civic life to get people more motivated and more involved.
And here's where you can really see the difference in thinking. Traditional politics, it often treats us like we're just passive spectators, right? Our engagement spikes once every few years for an election, and that's about it. A gamified approach, on the other hand, wants to turn that into this continuous interaction, using clear goals and a sense of achievement to keep us invested for the long haul.
So what does this actually look like? Well, the basic toolkit usually comes with three main things. First, you've got points, which you get for doing civic stuff, like, say, showing up to a town hall. Second, you have badges, which recognize what you've done and help you build a reputation. And finally, leaderboards, which can create a sense of friendly competition. The whole thing is designed to tap into that natural human drive we all have for achievement and recognition.
Now, this isn't just some theory people are kicking around. Nope. Innovators all over the world are already building and testing these new player modes for democracy. So let's actually take a look at how it works in the real world.
Okay, for our first example, we're heading to Italy to look at the 5-Star Movement's digital platform. They actually used gamification to completely change something really fundamental: how a person even becomes a political candidate in the first place. So instead of just relying on who has the most name recognition or who makes the best backroom deals, potential candidates on their platform earned merits. They got these for things like participating in party events or for having specific professional skills. These merits then showed up as badges on their profiles. And get this, the system automatically sorted candidates by their merit score. The whole point was to level the playing field and reward active, engaged members over the established insiders.
All right, now let's jump from Italy over to Taiwan, where they're taking this whole idea a step further. Their platform, which is called V-Taiwan, isn't about choosing candidates at all. It's about shaping the actual policies. It's specifically designed to turn what could be a heated argument into a productive, consensus-building conversation. On this platform, users have these little avatars that literally move between different opinion groups as they comment on policy ideas. And to stop it from just becoming a popularity contest, the platform intentionally shows a whole range of different opinions, not just the ones with the most likes. It's kind of like a real-time, multiplayer personality quiz, but for super complex policy issues.
And you should not make the mistake of thinking these are just small little experiments. In Spain, the Decide Madrid platform gave citizens the power to decide how to spend public money. And we're not talking about pocket change here. We're talking 100 million euros. This just shows you the incredible real-world scale and financial impact these gamified systems can have.
So, what's the ultimate win condition here? What's the end game for all these projects? Well, it's about moving all of us up this ladder of participation. The goal is to evolve, to get past just being informed by the government
and to start climbing up towards genuine collaboration and real empowerment, where people have a true say in the decisions that shape their lives.
But, like any game, this one has some potential cheat codes and some really serious glitches. The promise of a more engaging democracy, it turns out, comes with some pretty significant risks we have to talk about.
Because we have to ask the really tough question. What happens when the very tools that were designed to empower us are actually used to control us?
And this is where we really step into an ethical minefield. Gamification, it turns out, can be used to subtly nudge our behavior for somebody else's political gain. It can feel exploitative, asking people to do real work for what? Virtual rewards? It can even trivialize incredibly serious issues. And maybe the biggest red flag of all, it often relies on collecting huge amounts of our data, raising all kinds of concerns about surveillance and privacy.
As the writer Heather Chaplin put it, there's a real danger here. This supposedly populist idea could end up serving corporate or political interests way more than it serves ordinary people. It risks becoming just a shiny veneer of participation that's actually masking some top-down control.
And here's the kicker, the ultimate irony. Even the absolute best designed systems aren't immune to being, well, gamed. We've seen on platforms like Decide Madrid and vTaiwan that highly organized groups can learn to master the rules to push their own agendas. And in the process, they drown out other voices and basically subvert the very process the platform was meant to improve.
So, where does that leave us? Is gamifying democracy just a dead end? Or is there a way to move forward? The path forward is, well, it's incredibly challenging. It's all about designing systems that are engaging without being manipulative, and that are open without being easy to exploit. Striking that perfect balance, that's the mountain we have to climb.
And this really brings us to what might be the most powerful insight of all. Maybe the central question isn't if we should gamify democracy, because as one analysis puts it, our democracies are already gamified. Our goal should be to do it better. Just think about that for a second. Our political debates already run on the points and upvotes of social media. The game is already being played. The real question is how we can design it intentionally and design it for the public.
So we're left with this massive question. And it's not just about technology. It's about our values. How do we build systems, both online and offline, that are fair, transparent, and genuinely empowering? How do we design a democracy that isn't just effective, but is so engaging and so meaningful that everyone actually wants to be a player? That, right there, is the next level we need to unlock.